No, I can always edit, cut, whatever. But no, I was just gonna. Yeah, we can start whenever. But no, I was kind of curious about the COVID kids thing. Is that like a real thing or not?
Oh yeah, that's real. Really real.
So
Yeah.
because they lost like 2 years, like what are they
So
just
like
behind?
yeah, they're just behind. Kindergarten and first grade, you learn so much like kind of like, it's like the foundation of the house, you know? So you might try to build, the flooring on top of like sand and eventually the flooring's just gonna like fall through, you know?
Would you say the greatest, like if you wanted to negatively impact a child the most, would kindergarten, first grade be like the grade to miss?
Oh yeah, for sure. Those are huge ones. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even just like socially, you learn so many social skills, That's when they have the time to like teach you how to like this is how you act as a human. This is how you interact with others, like they have the time to teach that. And then you're supposed to already have that, but then yeah, if you basically missed half of kindergarten and like most of first grade and you're going to second grade, that's kind of rough, especially if you're just like if you just have like an average intelligence, and like you don't pick up things quickly and you need that time. And I mean, you're so behind, you know, so behind. Yeah. If you're smart already and you just pick up stuff and, because I mean, okay, like for example, if your parents are both college educated, the odd, you're gonna have like a wider vocabulary or deeper vocabulary. They're gonna expose you to like just knowledge that they have, because they're gonna impart their knowledge onto you, Um, but yeah, if your parents are uneducated, I mean, they just don't have as much of that to.
How bad of a setback is it? Or is it pretty easily recoverable? FYI, your video is off for some reason. Okay, you're back. Hmm. Okay. Which is a lot more effort and work by the parents versus dumbing it down. Yeah. Is it upper middle class area? Okay. Okay. How big is your class? No, like kids. Wow. No, because like my nieces and my, I guess Elizabeth's nieces, they're like in private school, and the class sizes are like 5 to 1 to like 7 to 1. Yeah, one teacher, like 7 kids. Yeah, but it's about 30 to 40,000 a year per student. I'm kind of curious on the ROI on that though, which I guess was one of my questions. And FYI, your video is frozen. I don't know if you can unfroze freeze it. Okay. Not a big deal. Yeah, I guess my question is, we had the talk before, but what percent like nurture versus nature? I know you feel more like it's almost 80 to 100% nurture, whereas I feel like it is 80% nurture. And I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like your fate is somewhat penciled in at birth, and I feel like it's 80% nature. So what makes you think that it is, yeah, what are the reasons why you think it's 80% nurture? I guess I'm more talking about like if someone is introverted, extroverted, ambitious, not ambitious, more disagreeable, not disagreeable, like personal character traits. So you think something like introversion and extroversion is taught? Or like, yeah. But if you look at families though, I rarely see, it's usually like if you see families with multiple kids, the one variable is the that's constant, that it's the parents, right? So like if you say like they behave a certain way towards their kids, then like usually both of the kids or like three or four of the kids should be all extroverted or introverted. But what I usually see is like the opposite. Is usually one is always introverted and the one is always more extroverted. But there's not really a personality trait I can think of that doesn't have a strong genetic component. And isn't it not like your because so the yes, but it's those character traits that the combination of those character traits that kind of dictate how that kid navigates the circumstances that their parents put them in. So here's a theory I have, and the theory is I feel like in the long run it doesn't really matter because the analogy that I'm thinking of is like some people are born with like, they're like a 4x4 car, right? They're made for like off-road, you know. And then some are built with like sports car type features and they're built for like smooth, slick roads and like fast speeds. Granted, you may be born as a 4x4 and you got parents that want you to perform like a sports car. You're going to struggle in life, but once you become an adult, you'll eventually find like that racetrack where you'll eventually like succeed. And the same goes for that 4x4, and vice versa. Yes, no. Yeah, but that's what I feel like. Eventually people find their own type of road that fits their personality strengths. But yeah, this is part of the circumstance. That wouldn't have happened if you didn't have those skill sets though. And so, like, yeah, you can say like Matt Damon's character was like the sports car on, like a off-road track all up until like his 20s. But if there's a part two of that movie, that part two would be like Matt Damon basically just killing it in life, pretty much. And that's true. So then, let's say you have a family of four, and you have like, or no, you have a family and you have like four kids. Three of them are so far seem like pretty good, but one is like a massive problem child. And to me, that seems like originally I thought like, oh, it's like the parents' fault. But then I'm speaking from personal experience. I actually know the parents like not really well, but like somewhat well. They seem like good, solid parents. The other three kids seem like pretty like healthy and well brought up. But this one is, what you would call quote a problem child. Who knows? She's still young. Could grow up and be super successful. How does that happen? That makes me think it's more like genetic. Firstborn. So that's like 18, 16, 15, like 13. So I've heard both sides of the story, not directly from the party, but from a third party. I guess the child is basically their complaint against the parent is like, I don't feel heard and listened to, and I think that's the big one, kind of like you hit it there. The parent one is I don't really know, but like the issue kind of first stemmed from the fact that they set strong boundaries of saying like, "Hey, no phone use after like 9:30." And I guess she didn't agree with that philosophy and felt like, yeah, her other complaint is that like the parents is trying to control them. Parents' version is, "Hey, we need to set strong boundaries," which I agree with. And then, but I mean, it got pretty bad where there's like, she called the police, lying, saying like the dad physically abused her. And then, she ran away from home like a few times and et cetera, et cetera. Like, yeah, I'm like surprised because, yeah, I know the parents and they seem like good parents. Yeah, and that just makes me think like, man, maybe it is just like a complete crapshoot of like how these kids turn out. And yeah, maybe there is like a school influence, but my thought was always that like the parents' influence would always like supersede whatever influence they may get from the school. But again, how come the other kids don't really have trust issues with the parents? Hmm. I definitely don't think it's that. It seems to be like, hey, we need to set a strong boundary of what we allow in this house and what we don't, because it's not just us, but it also like affects the other kids too, which, makes sense. I think so. Yeah. I have no idea. I think they do. Yeah. I mean, one of the issues I could see there is like the 16-year-old kind of goes and tells the mom or tells the dad. I could see that. I don't know if that's true or not, but then basically that circumvents the whole trust thing. Um, yeah, I don't know. That's true. I'm also hearing it from a third party, and it sounds, yeah. Yeah. I don't know how that extreme happens though. That's the thing. It's just like I always thought for something like that to happen, like, it happens to some like, you know, third ward, south side of Chicago type family or like, Why doesn't it happen in the upper class families? Or does it? Okay. Like, yeah, because you specifically mentioned, like, upper middle class. Yeah, like, when I heard from, that yeah, she didn't think, like, the parents trusted her or yeah, like, didn't feel heard and listened to. It sounds kinda dumb dumb because 'cause I'm relating my personal experience to, like, an 18-year-old, but, yeah, the main issue that I have with, like, my wife is oftentimes I tell her I don't feel, like, heard or listened to, and when I give my side of the story to, like, our therapist or whoever, like, they definitely get it, but then if they hear, like, my wife's side of the story, it's, like, completely opposite, like, if you listen to her, whatever she says will sound very, like, reasonable, you know, and the truth is realistically, like, somewhere in the middle. So, how old is May? Do you think a 7-year-old child is more receptive to listening to what you say than, like, a 18-year-old or, like, a 16-year-old child? So how would you the co Mhm. That's true. So how would you handle and this is a common problem I see even with, like, who I consider, like, good parents, teenagers and phone use. Like, what would you say in the situation? Let's say May is, like, 16, 18, and you tell her, like, "No phones during this time," and she's like, "No, that's a dumb rule, like, I need to talk to my friends." Like, what would you do? Yeah, how would you handle the whole, like, cell phone use situation with teenagers? Yeah. But let's use that rule of like, okay, no phones after like 9:30. Let's say you draw a hard line on that. Your philosophy is that the parents should compromise on that? Yeah. What if here she says like, "It's really important to me. I need to communicate with my friends, et cetera, whatever." But you still don't like, you don't think it's a good enough reason. So you're like, "Yeah, that's not a good reason why." Like 9:30 is the cutoff, and she still like doesn't listen. Yeah, I'm a little scared of the phone. Even if phones are even around when if I ever have kids and they're older. But yeah. I mean, Facebook changed their company name for a reason. Yeah, they'll just put on their contacts and boom, you know, they'll be connected. Um, hmm. What if you don't pay for it? It's just not paying for it, but like Web3 technology, if it does ever come to fruition, is like you actually don't have to pay for it. What if they give the phone out for free? No, that's true. Regulatory reasons. Okay. Oh, playing the trust card, huh? Yeah, I don't know. Like, that sounds all good and reason, but I feel like it's such an uphill battle against like cell phones that are engineered by like your smartest, like, Harvard, Ivy League grads to get you addicted to these things. Yeah. What if she still disagrees? I guess that's my ultimate question. Like, what happens in the event that you talk it out, you do all the right things, you do the X's and O's, but you still can't come to an agreement? You know how kids are. They may not give you a logical argument, but they may just be like, "This is unfair. This is unfair." You know, how well does that work for you so far? Pretty well. Okay. That's actually some magic superpower there, because I don't know too many kids that actually come back and apologize. I don't think I ever recall, like, apologizing to my parents. So last question, I know you're busy and, well, I'll let you go, but last question, what why do you think your kid? Because I feel like kids coming back to their parents and apologizing is pretty rare. What do you think that you did differently than other parents that your kid comes back and apologizes to you? Do you think I know you definitely don't think it's genetic, it's nurture. So you and Asel basically have complementary skill sets that translate positively towards me. And mm, Yeah, but oftentimes people doing it is often and not done in a healthy way. So, hmm, fair enough. I guess we'll leave it on that note then. Cool. All right, man. Take care. Have a good week. I'll text you sometime next week for this upcoming week. All right. Take care. Bye.